Hello and welcome to my Game Week 21 watch list, starting off with the defenders. At the top, Trippier still remains the best option. Absolutely amazing what he's doing this season, and yeah, not much needs to be said about him. Robertson and Trent, Liverpool got absolutely smashed by Brighton. Defensively, they look very shaky, and yeah, even though they do offer attacking threat, I don't see Liverpool picking up many clean sheets in the near future, and I don't see these assets as being worth it. They do, however, have a nice run of games, except that Newcastle game in Game Week 24. So you could take a punt on them because they still offer the attacking threat. However, Liverpool defensively just leave a lot to be desired. Might get a downgrade, both of them, soon if I don't see some improvements in Liverpool's play. Next up, John Stones. Yeah, looking like the most nailed, perhaps, City option, but still the risk of rotation is there, especially with Ruben Dias coming back. You have Stones, Dias, Akanji, all fighting for that right center back spot. Even Kyle Walker we've seen can slot in there. So the perhaps safest City option currently, but that's not saying much. And even with that, City have been leaking goals. They still, from a statistical point of view, look like one of the best defenses. And the fixtures are nice. I mean, Wolves, Forest, and Bournemouth in the next five. They also have a double game week. So I can't fault you for going for a City option. However, do be aware of the risk of rotation. Stones looking like the best option, or at least the most nailed option currently. Cancelo, yeah, I mean played one game in the double game week. Might get a start against Wolves. I think he will actually, but still for that amount of money, not worth it. Perisic, yeah, Spurs poor defensively, and he was actually very, very poor against Manchester City. Might even be dropped or at least rested for that Fulham game. And yeah, for that money, just not an option currently. Reece James still injured. Moving on to the next bracket, we have Ben White and Shaw still at the top. Excellent option. White 4.7 million nail defender for Arsenal. The fixtures are getting better, especially after that Man United game. A great option still. Shaw. United are looking likely to get a double game week in game week 22, so Shaw becomes an even better option. They might, however, blank in game week 25, so be careful of that, especially if you have too many Newcastle and Manchester United assets, coupled with perhaps some Brighton players. All those teams might blank in 25, so watch out for that. I've removed Martinez from the watch list, and Varane is the only other defender worth considering, in my opinion, from Manchester United. Uh, the price difference between him and Martinez isn't that much, so you'd hate to have Martinez and then see Shaw playing at left center back, which has happened on a few occasions lately. Varane, yeah, great options. The double game week makes him a even better option. You really could see Manchester United keeping a few clean sheets in these next 4 or 5 games. So yeah, Varane looking like a good option. Gabriel and Saliba. I've added Saliba simply because there's not much in it between him and Gabriel. Uh, yeah, as I said, the same argument with Ben White. The only reason Ben White is higher because I prefer him due to the price, of course, and him being substituted off in some games before around the 60-minute mark, and perhaps keeping that clean sheet while Gabriel and Saliba might concede in the 70th or 80th minute. So yeah, I prefer White, but they are good options, of course. Dunk, I have risen Dunk and Stupinian. After that demolition of Liverpool, I might have underestimated them a bit from a defensive point of view, and the fixtures are decent in the near future. As I said, watch out for Game Week 25. They might have a blank in that game week, but they are cheap, and Brighton are looking like a really good team. They are a team that focuses more on the attack than the defense, so I cannot quite put Dunk in the same bracket as the likes of Varane, Saliba, and Gabriel, simply because they are playing for better teams and, let's say, more balanced teams, which I expect to keep more clean sheets than Brighton. Doherty, me, Konate, Ake gets a downgrade simply because we've seen Pep change it up, mix it up with the two formations. So, for example, if Cancelo is playing left back and Walker is playing right back, and they're playing with the classic back four, then Ake is competing for that center back spot with a lot of center backs, for example, Laporte, and all the right-footed center backs like Diaz Stones, Akanji, etc. However, if they do play with the let's say new formation, it's which is almost a three at the back with Rico Lewis slotting in midfield, I just prefer Lewis. So their playing time is sort of intertwined, and that's why I would prefer Lewis instead of Ake. I might be wrong here, but that's just my opinion currently. Kanate, me, Doherty, these guys might even drop lower on the list. Not options I would consider. Dire Cresswell, yeah, not much to say here. Botman, still a great option, especially for his price. Newcastle still looking great defensively. Rico Lewis gets a small downgrade. I was, let's say, too convinced that he was a starter now, which is, of course, pretty foolish of me considering it's Pep. But yeah, he did play one game in the double game week, and he will see minutes in the future. And for 3.9 million, I think he is still a good option. Not quite a great option, but for 3.9 million, I prefer him to the likes of Ake and Cancelo. Bueno still remains a good option. Next two fixtures are difficult, but for 3.9, you probably just leave him on the bench and use that money elsewhere. Estupinian, as I've said, gets a rise. With the fixtures looking decent, he offers some attacking threat, of course. So does Dunk from set pieces. And with Leicester especially being very, very poor from defending set pieces, Dunk might be a good option. But Estupinian offers more attacking threat from, from open play, actually. Sufal might even get a downgrade. The price is okay, but West Ham are looking very, very poor, and seems only a matter of time before David Moyes gets the sack. Patterson still injured, and Williams still not preferred for that starting position. So yeah, that's it for the defenders. Moving on to the midfielders, we have KDB at the top. Still believe that he's a good option. The fixtures are still great. There's also another double game week. Yeah, he's been underwhelming from a points perspective, and City as a whole have been a bit lackluster since the break, but I still believe he is a good option. Bruno has been great from a statistical point of view, and actually converted that into points in this double game week, and with the announcement of another double game week in 22 and the fixtures looking great except the Arsenal game, definitely deserves a rise on the watch list. Mo Salah, Liverpool are looking poor. I prefer other premium options to him. Son and Sterling. Son, yeah, he was worth a punt in the double game week. He loves scoring against the bigger teams, especially on the break. But with the double game week now gone and him not producing, it's really not looking like his season. and Spurs as a whole have been disappointing. Sterling injured, so not much to talk about there. In the 7.2 to 8.3 million bracket, we have Saka at the top. Great asset. The fixtures are turning for the better, and Arsenal are still looking amazing. Mahrez, now he might even be in the higher bracket, but I didn't put him there simply due to the fact that I'm still not convinced about his minutes. The rotation threat is still there. However, when he does play, he is looking great. And if you want to go for a City midfielder not named Kevin De Bruyne, I would go for Mahrez. Kulusevski, well, not a good option currently, but if you want, you can go for him. He has been playing well. When given the chance, he has been playing well, and he does look like the only spark that Spurs have, not named Harry Kane, so decent, but yeah. With other better and cheaper options, I wouldn't go there personally. Mount, Anthony, and Foden all get a downgrade. Anthony because the rotation is there, the minutes are looking worrying. Mount just not an option. Chelsea not looking great, and Foden, yeah, with the rotation with Grealish, I wouldn't go there, especially when you have Mahrez, who is currently just a superior option to him. In the 5.3 to 7.1 million bracket, pretty much everything remains the same except a few changes. So Almiron, Odegaard, and Rashford, I still believe are excellent. Martinelli gets a small downgrade simply due to the fact that Trossard has signed for Arsenal, so that could impact, or rather will impact his minutes. For now, I think he's safe in that starting 11, maybe even for the future, but the risk is there, so he simply cannot be on the same level as the likes of Odegaard and Rashford. So, yeah, still decent. I mean, still a good option, but if you're buying an Arsenal midfielder, go for Odegaard or Saka currently. Rodrigo, yeah, the fixtures are great. The double game week is a positive thing for him, definitely. He has been scoring, he has been playing great this season. However, with Bamford coming back, with their new signing from Hoffenheim unveiled, and just the plethora of options that Leeds have in the attacking areas, the risk of rotation is there for pretty much all the Leeds assets. And yeah, he is a risk. However, he is a risk that could pay off, especially with the fixtures looking great. And yeah, him playing as well as he has been playing so far. Ward-Prowse gets an upgrade actually. I never thought I'd be saying this, but he's been on fire recently. Yes, the fixtures have been good, but he seems to be playing in a more attacking position, in a more attacking role to the previous one. So yeah, wouldn't go there, but I won't call you crazy if you go for Ward-Prowse. Wissa gets a downgrade. Yeah, with the Bournemouth game out of the way, and the risk of rotation with, or rather formation change, causing Wissa to drop out of the first 11 being a real possibility. I just cannot put him higher than this, especially with other options around the same price emerging. Trossard still a no-go from me, but we'll have to wait and see how he fits into this Arsenal team. He might become a great option in the future if he nails down that starting spot, because I do believe he is a great player. And in the 4.2 to 4.9, or rather I should change that to 5.1. There we go. Apologies for that. So yeah, the new additions, of course, or the new addition, is March, who I have overlooked, I have to admit, in the previous few watch lists. Great option with Mitoma. He looks to be the one supplying the goals and the assists for this Brighton team. So both March and Mitoma are excellent options. Mitoma, I believe, gets a small rise. I think he was in the same bracket as Pereira last week. But yeah, Brighton are just looking excellent from an attacking point of view. And yeah, for that price, they are both excellent options. Which one would I prefer? I don't know, really. To be honest, I do not know. They're both nailed as far as I can see, especially with Trossard transferring to Arsenal. Mitoma has better underlying stats, I think. March has, of course, better returns currently. Both great options, so yeah. I really don't know which one to pick, so I've put them both in the same bracket because yeah, I believe they are excellent options. Pereira still remains here with the blank game week in 25 impacting many managers. He does have a game then. It's against Wolves. It's a decent game. So if you're playing with four midfielders and he's your fifth, he's just a great option to keep. Bailey, excellent performance from him. For that price, playing in the forward role, he is a good option. I'm still not quite convinced about Aston Villa, and there are options like March and Mitoma and Pereira who have been more consistent and look like they are playing for better attacking teams. I would prefer them, but Bailey is definitely an option, and the Silva is here simply for the price. And that's it for the midfielders. And moving on to the forwards, in the top spot, it's still, of course, Erling Haaland, and not much needs to be said about him. Kane, maybe an underwhelming double game week, one has to say, but the fixtures have been difficult in the double, and he's just a great keep for the future because he will return. He has been incredibly consistent the entire season. Darwin Nunez looking like he will return against Chelsea. However, Liverpool have been disappointing, and he had his finishing problems, which might continue. And with there being cheaper options that provide the same potential as him, maybe even higher, I wouldn't quite go there yet. Havertz and Vardy, not really options in the 6.0 to 7.7 million bracket. Mitrovic, still a good option. I wouldn't panic too much just yet. He is still Fulham's main man, and Fulham have been looking great from an attacking perspective. And yeah, if only he could finish those penalties. But yeah, still a good option. No reason to panic. Wilson, still the main striker for Newcastle. And yeah, good option. Not much needs to be said about Wilson. Nketiah, will his minutes and his starting spot be in jeopardy due to the arrival of Trossard? It's yet to be seen, but Arteta has shown that when things are working, he doesn't really tinker that much with his starting 11. And with Jesus still being out with a long-term injury, he is their number 9. He offers something that the others don't. So yeah, I still believe he is a good option, especially if you're playing with a 3-striker formation. Do I prefer Odegaard and Saka to him? Yes, I do, but it's fine margins, and yeah, Nketiah is a great option, especially for his price and being a forward after all. Martial gets a downgrade simply due to the fact that, yeah, we cannot rely on him. His fitness is a concern, and even when he has been playing, he has been very disappointing. I've owned him since the World Cup. All I've got to show for it is 1 goal which was also quite a lucky one. I think it was a very poor reaction from Dean Henderson. So not really an option we should consider. Tony, he gets a small rise. I have been ignoring him, putting him in the red bracket ever since the World Cup, purely because of the betting ban, purely because of the threat of suspension. And you would hate to transfer in a player that just gets suspended in a few days. He is an excellent player. There's no doubting that. He is Brentford's main man. Brentford are playing well, but I have to stick to my guns, and just due to the possibility of him being banned and being an instant problem in our teams, I will not put him higher. Will it be a mistake to ignore Tony? Perhaps, but we will see. Watkins, Felix, Ings. Ings has transferred to West Ham, so he could be an interesting option in the future. Adams, Weghorst, players we shouldn't really be considering currently, especially with other much more consistent and clear options uh, in this bracket. Nonto is a new addition to the list in this cheaper bracket. Yeah, the Leeds man has been impressive. The double game week is definitely a plus for him, and the fixtures are looking good. So yeah, for 5 million, there are worse options than him. Definitely want to consider. The same argument I said, of course, for Rodrigo, unfortunately rings true for Nonto as well. They have such incredible depth in the attacking positions, especially with Sinistera coming back. With Somerville, I don't quite know how long he is out, but he is also a threat. Harrison can also play on the wing. With Jorginho Rutter also an option. We might see rotation. We might see rotation, so that's why him and Rodrigo aren't higher on the watch list. But for 5 million, good option to punt on. Mbomo and Johnson still remain options, but yeah, I just wouldn't go there. Solanke and Moore, no. Daka, no. And in the 4.2 to 4.5 million bracket, Greenwood gets a small downgrade simply due to the emergence of Nonto. I don't see him getting a lot of minutes. The only reason you would get Greenwood if you're desperate for cash, but I don't believe money is currently that big an issue that you would sacrifice one of your slots in your team when you can just get Ferguson for 0.3 million more, who looks to be, yeah, a great option for Brighton. Especially if he keeps starting, we have to see what the situation is with Welbeck coming back. He scored a great goal against Liverpool, so his place might be in danger, but for now I think he will keep starting. And for that price, look, you're not risking much, so yeah, a good option definitely uh, for that forward slot. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope you have a good game week. Bye.